Greetings, everybody. Got a little bit of a different video for you here today. So, I was requested to show how I make these arrowheads. I don't really have any videos on my channel showcasing like how I do it to a very in-depth extent, and this will kind of be a bit of a long format video, so I do apologize in advance for any stutters, mishaps, or any hiccups that might occur along the way. I don't usually do these kinds of videos, and I also hope that the wind noise isn't too bad. I have a fan going to keep the dust out of my face, and I'm probably going to be fighting my camera's phone focus here, but this is going to be a little bit of a test run, and I'm going to do it for someone who asked me how I make my arrowheads. So I'm in my workshop right now, and I have all my tools here to my side. I would get a video of it, but I kind of got my phone all sort of wrapped up in a stand to get this goofy angle, and I'm hoping that it focuses mostly on my hands, even though I can see right now that it's going to be trying to focus in on the background, even if I like get thin fingers. But yeah, anyways, I'm getting sidetracked here. A bit of a long format video, so before I start out, I wrap my fingers because of the way I hold things. I mean, as you can see, I've gotten cuts and whatnot on my fingers. It'll make a little bit more sense once I start working with my stuff, because I'm just going to kind of I haven't decided if I want to make this like a two-part video or not. It might be. In fact, I'm thinking it might help me to preserve some battery life on my phone, and it might also give me the chance to kind of adjust and recuperate my thoughts here. But yeah, what I'm doing right here is kind of just protecting my fingers. Like I said, it'll become a bit more clear once I start working, but this is just your like standard, like sticky tape wrap. It's not like sticky with like adhesive, but it sticks to itself. So I just use that. I would use gloves, but as with any napper, they run into the issue of just absolutely grenading all the fingertips of all their gloves. And these are like, these lasted me the longest, but they're still not good enough. So they're like A5 cut resistant and like level 4 abrasion resistant. These are like Kevlar gloves, and like I said, that happened in about, I want to say like about a month. So I'm going through gloves pretty quickly, and mind you, this is only on my left hand. My right-handed gloves, they're usually fine. They're pretty untouched, except for like a couple mild abrasions here and there. So I burn through left-handed gloves like crazy. But okay, what are we gonna work with today? Like I said, this is gonna be a little bit of an impromptu video, so bear with me while I kind of orient myself and get my brain situated. I also brought myself some water to keep myself hydrated, so if I happen to need to take a drink break, I'll let you know. So I'm going to take a drink break right now. But I might try to throw in a little bit of commentary as well, see how that goes. I'm looking at my stuff that I have, because I have like boxes upon boxes of just stuff. Like, this is some material that I just kind of have put aside. Ignore these wildflower seeds. I've been meaning to take those out. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find something. I mean, this flake looks pretty promising. It's just got a lot of cortex on it, which might be a pain in the butt to remove, but that's a nice Georgetown flake. It's got like a big knob on it. So yeah, I might attempt to give this one a go, see how it goes. Yeah, you know what, why not? I have like glass and other stuff, but I kind of want to take it easy here for this first video. And before I forget, because I know I will, safety glasses. Gotta have safety glasses. We're throwing rock chips here. I don't want nothing getting in my eye. Because my goal, let me grab one right here. This is a different type of material, but my goal is to take something like this and turn it into kind of what is called like a preform. So basically something that's been bifaced, which means that it's been worked on both sides, down to kind of a slimmer profile that's more consistent, that I can kind of just use by hopping in and just getting to work. I don't have to worry about something weird and awkward with all these like knobs and ridges and all sorts of weird cortex stuff as well. I don't want to have to worry about that when I'm getting into my napping zone, so I'm going to try to turn it into some sort of little preform, and then, depending on how I'm feeling, I will take the preform and I will finish it out to a point. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the video. Like I said, it's just going to kind of be a bit impromptu, and I'm sure I'll get better at this with time, but yeah, this is just from my fan. Her name is Zainey, so this is for you, Zainey. I'm going to show you how to take this weird, awkward looking piece of rock, and we're going to turn it into an arrowhead. So all things considered, I think we are good to go. I'm gonna start off by doing what is called abrasion. I just have like a grinding wheel here. Ignore the blood, I get cut often. It just kind of happens when you're working with sharp stuff. So it's just kind of a grinding wheel. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work down some of these edges here. So the reason I'm doing that, not only to kind of file away some of this cortex here, but abrasion on edges is really good for making it so that your strikes carry, because if you're trying to send a lot of force through something, or at least have a good transfer of energy, doing that on a really thin surface isn't the best way to do it, because it's like if you have a ball and you're like, the ball is like on a teeter-totter sort of thing, and you're trying to hit the one end to launch the ball up into the air. Oop, better get that in frame. It's like it's on the teeter-totter, ball's on this end, this is up. If you're trying to hit this and launch the ball up, you don't want this to be super duper thin, because if you hit it too hard, it'll just break, and then you won't have anything happen. So you want to have some nice sturdy edges in what you're doing when you're doing this sort of thing. So I kind of like to just go through and do a bit of a preemptive one. It also helps me from getting cut and whatnot, but just to get rid of some of these weird spots like this right here, I'm going to try and do a little bit of direct percussion. So direct percussion, you're using just a bopper here, which is just like a copper cap filled with some lead shot, and it's on some sort of handle. I mean, these come in like different styles too. My toolbox is here off to the side. Here's another style that I have. It's just got like a plastic handle, but the concept remains mostly the same. Just a heavy weighted copper cap. This kind of stands in for like your bone hammers, so when you see people hitting stuff with bone, this is just kind of like a modern version of that. And they come in different sizes depending on how big of things you want to do, so I have a couple different sizes. This is a big boy. This is my lightest one, and this is kind of in between. I kind of use this one the most, but sometimes I'll use a light one in when I'm doing big pieces of stuff. The big boy gets used a lot. I mean, as you can see, this thing is really beat up, and I kind of had a bad miss, so I had to fix it. That's why this is all kind of messed up. See that big dent right there on the side? Yeah, my aim was not good, which is why I don't mostly use direct percussion doing this. We'll get to what I mainly use, but I'm just going to kind of knock some things off here, get some stuff kind of cleaned up. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to juggle this with the video as well, because like I said, I've not really done this before, nor have I really talked and done this before. So if there are times where I kind of just go radio silent, I might just be trying to focus, or I just end up forgetting that I'm recording. But yeah, looking at this piece here, let's see. Big bad thing is this dip right here in the middle, and of course the camera's gonna fight me on this. This big dip in the middle, right here. See how it's kind of like a valley? That's like a weak spot, and I'm gonna have to figure out a way to either flatten this out through that or knock off these two big bulbous ends here to make it flat. I don't really know what this is gonna look like, but yeah. So I'm just gonna try and figure out what is gonna go well for us and what might go bad, and I mean, I might sabotage myself and end up making a big old mess, but that's okay. Like I said, this is the first video. This is kind of just a little bit of a test run, kind of getting the feel for things, getting into the groove, and I haven't warmed up at all either. So if I end up missing things or like that, stuff like that happens, I mean, that's no big deal. Did I not break into multiple pieces? I don't know. Yeah, see, just like I thought, in that little valley, broke apart, but I can use this, and that kind of saves me a bit of time because this is a little bit nicer of a piece that I have less to clean up on. So I'm going to save that other piece, and that kind of means that I'm just going to go into using my main tool. It's a little bit different of a method, so it's the same concept as using the boppers that I just showed you. I just don't like doing that because my aim is just awful. But the other method that I use is stuff called indirect percussion. So what that looks like is you have just like a solid copper rod here. I think this is like a 12-inch copper rod. You know, it's just solid copper. I file it down on the ends because sometimes these ends get all chewed up and filled with rock, and that doesn't work too good. So yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of tip maintenance here before I end up jumping into things. And this is what I mainly use to make my stuff. I try not to do too much direct percussion, but it's kind of just something that you got to do when you have like super big pieces. I have more big pieces over there, but I can't really reach them. I'll do a video on those at some point. But yeah, I take it and I put the rod in the crook of my knee. And then this is where the focus is going to be fun, because I bet it's going to fight me a little bit when I'm doing this. But then I'm pretty much using this. It's a ultra high molecular weight rod to smack that. And then that is a transfer of force from here into the rod, which goes into the piece. So it kind of takes out a lot of the aiming aspect, and it makes it a lot easier, or at least easier for me. I know some people struggle with this method, but for me, it is an absolute godsend. So I enjoy it a lot. So basically, I just try to find a spot on the rock. I position my indirect rod, and I just pop things off. So yeah, that's kind of the method that I use. And I'm going to see how far I can get on this. This will be an interesting time. Like I said, I'm going to try to be multitasking, focusing on the camera to make sure everything's in focus, while also trying to give some commentary. But yeah, knocking off flakes there. So what I'm going to try to do first is get this cortex off. So this is just like a chalky cortex. It's just what the chert forms in. I'm trying to think if this is I think it's just Georgetown chert or flint. There's a difference between the two. I forget. I think it's just what they form in, like the main rock that they form in. I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't exactly remember what forms in what. But yeah, it basically determines like if it's a flint or a chert. It's pretty similar stuff, but yeah. So I'm just gonna try to get rid of that cortex here. I don't usually like doing cortex peeling because sometimes it can be a pain in the butt, especially if you have to like hit in the cortex itself because it's chalky. As you can see, it's got chalkiness to it, and that's not a good transfer of force. You want to be hitting like on the actual stone itself. So yeah, let's see what I can do here. Try to lock in just a little bit. And I hope it's like pretty smooth throughout, because it could end up being a bit of a pain in the butt if things get all wonky. So yeah, I'm trying to peel it off and see what I can do. And once I get a little bit better and more comfortable doing videos like this, I'm definitely going to try and explain my thought process just a little bit more. Because I know people appreciate that and they like to hear insight on what my thought process is, or what people's thought processes are when they're doing this sort of thing. I've been only doing it for a year, so I'm not really extremely experienced yet. I'm like good enough to make stuff, but there are dudes who have been doing this for like I'm not even kidding you, like 50 years. Like 50, 45 years. It's just insane. And those guys are good. They can do some crazy stuff that's like really awesome. But yeah, I'm just kind of like, all things considered, I'm a beginner, so I kind of am just doing what I can. Pretty nice, like hear the satisfying sounds. High silica rock, very glassy, quartz crystals. It's very, very fun. But yeah, I've just kind of been doing it for a year. Lots of practice, lots and lots of practice. That's kind of like the big thing that'll really boost your skill level up, or your ability to make things at the very least. Much like anything, practice makes perfect, and flint knapping is no different. So yeah, I'm pretty fortunate with the amount of time that I have to dedicate to it. But you know, some people aren't as lucky as me, and they're doing their best. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty fun skill to learn. I kind of picked it up because I wanted a hobby that was really cheap, that I could just kind of do and make cool stuff with. Like, you know, I like history, I like artifacts. I think that stuff's super neat. I've found a few, not too many, but enough. And there are ones that I really want. And it was just kind of like, well, if I can't find them, I should just learn how to make them, because at least that'd be cool, right? This is gonna be a fun spot. Ooh, we got an obstacle. I'm gonna try. So flakes like to travel along a curved surface, and and I don't know how much of a curve is hidden under that cortex. So if I strike into it, I might be doing some risky business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower where I'm striking by striking in the opposite direction. And that should also double as peeling away a bit of this chalky cortex. See, there was nothing in there. It was just cortex. So if I would have been striking down that way, I would have been getting nothing but cortex, and I would have been making a little bit of a mess, or it would have been not working. I would have been like, well, what the heck? Why is it not working? Water break! Water break! Where's my water? There it is. Woohoo! You gotta hydrate while you nap. You can't be getting dehydrated. No. So let's see here. So I'm gonna try and strike like up on it just a little bit. That was just all cortex, so it didn't do anything. See how it just kind of popped that chalkiness off. I think I'm gonna keep working it backwards. I'm gonna try to go the opposite direction here. See if I can expose more of that actual Georgetown in there, because that'd be nice. There we go. Starting to get a little bit better in there. Starting to expose more of that in there. So I'm going to braid that down, because that's still considered a thin edge. Just because it has cortex on it doesn't mean it's got any strength, because that cortex, or at least in Georgetown's case, doesn't add too much strength to it. You want to actually be striking in the material. Did I do some weirdness in there? Maybe. So we'll see now. Now that I kind of got it a little bit more exposed, I think I might. Oh yeah. So yeah, see there when I struck on the actual material itself. Let's see if I can get her to focus in on there. When I struck on the actual material itself, it blew through all that cortex and knocked that off. So sweet, nice, awesome. That's what I wanted. That's perfect. These pieces are going to be pretty easy to clean up. Nice. Sometimes I do like leaving just a little bit of cortex because it looks cool. It makes it look like old, you know. But most of the time it's pretty good practice to get rid of your cortex. And it helps you to have a little bit easier of a time doing some of the other stuff later down the stage here. Because I can tell you right now, one thing that's going to be really kind of a pain in the butt to deal with is this edge right here. See how steep that is? I'm not going to be able to shoot flakes this way because come on phone, focus. I'm not going to be able to shoot flakes this way because they're not going to want to go up and over here unless I do like a lot. So I'm going to try to move where I'm striking by striking this downward and chipping away at that to move that line upwards so that I can go over that curve here. And it'll help me try and get rid of some of this cortex right here, since I have that big ugly vein of it right there. But that shouldn't be too hard, I don't think. I mean, what do I know? But yeah, let's see here. No, I'm not going to do that. I want to try to go down a little bit. Again, moving where I'm striking down, just so that I can kind of get access to this good Georgetown instead of just the cortex. And certain cortex flakes can be a nightmare because like there'll be like waviness like in the cortex, so you'll like have like a dip. And you saw how this broke with the dip when I was doing my direct percussion on it, trying to break it up. That dip can do the same exact thing when you're working with a point. It'll just kind of be like, well, what the heck happened? It's like, oh, the cortex had a dip. Cortex had a dip, and it can have that, or it'll have like a bubble or like a crystal pocket, because like some of the stuff that's down here, this is stuff that I locally collected here from Iowa. I stuck it in my turkey roaster and baked it like the chef that I am. This stuff is really pretty. I'm like, it's pretty glassy. It can have cracks and stuff in it, but like these holes and everything in here, I've made stuff out of both of these, but yeah, some of these holes and stuff can cause issue. And then like this is the cortex of this stuff, really nasty and pockety. It's also very crackly. See, it looks really weird, but yeah, you just bake it, and then it changes color sometimes. It turns orange. Where's the other one at? I had like a shoot, I don't know where it went. Oh, it's all the way over there. I can't reach it. I had a where did I put my thing? Sorry, I'm scatterbrained now. There it is. Now I forgot what I was going to say. I'll just kind of talk about some of the stuff I collect here. We don't have too much here in Iowa because of all the glacial sediment, or at least where I'm at in Iowa. We do have stuff in Iowa. A lot of it is just kind of like southern Iowa, southwestern or southeastern tends to be where a lot of stuff is. Here, kind of on the Des Moines Lobe Formation where we're at, we depend on a lot of stuff that got moved in by the glaciers. So it's kind of a toss-up what you'll find. I go to like river gravel bars and stuff, and I'll find like fossils and whatnot, cool stuff. And then occasionally, if I'm really good, I'll find some nice Iowa material, which I actually do have some here. Sneak peek on a couple points that I made. This is all Iowa material. I'm collecting it right now. Some really pretty stuff here. Here's that quartzite stuff. I made a little desert side notch. This was, I called this like some chocolate chert. It looked very chocolatey. And then this one, my word, this one was I thought it was gonna die because of all these pockets in it. But yeah, those are a couple that I made here using some Iowa stuff that I found on a river gravel bar. So you can find stuff, and it's just not very common, So sometimes you have to buy stuff in, and there are plenty of places around the United States that have really good workable material. Texas especially. This Georgetown comes from Texas. There's going to be a lot of it. Oh, we got a bend. There's a little bit of a dip in here. So I got my backer stone, and what I do if I end up getting a bend in here is I try to smack it straight. There we go. And it is a thing where if this gets bent while I'm using it, it'll do all sorts of weird stuff on here, because if there's a bend with the angles that I'm striking at, it'll do weird stuff, and the flakes won't do what I need them to do. So I always try to keep that rod as straight as I can, just because it'll help me out in the long run. So yeah, going back to this, like I was saying, I'm kind of working to get that steep edge taken care of. I've been working it back that way, so I'm going to keep working it back. And then I'm guessing once I kind of get to this middle spot here, which I think I'll be able to do just by trimming this down, I'll be able to start shooting some flakes along the top. At least I think I will. Sometimes you just gotta do big, fast movement, or not movements, strikes on your piece, because you just got to work it down to something usable. I can thin something out too. So all these little jagged spots there, those can be used as platforms. So platforms are areas that you can strike that'll give you a better chance of shooting a flake. So this guy right here, he's looking mighty tasty. So we're gonna take a big old bite out of him, and he's gonna shoot up. Hopefully, this is gonna be my prediction. It's gonna shoot up and kind of eat up this area right here. Thin that out. Watch me eat my own words. But yeah, so I was gonna put the flake back on there and show you, but yeah, came through, thinned that out. I'm gonna use, this is another good one too right here. I like that one. That one makes me happy. You gotta watch the profiles though, because see how high he is, but see that dip that's right in there, how it goes down? You can see it right there, that dip. If I was to try and shoot a flake in there without going high enough up on the platform, it would just go and it would stop, and it would create a step fracture, which all us flint knappers absolutely love. Step fractures are our favorite thing, because not only do they just kind of suck, you have to, like, depending on how bad they are, you have to either work your point back to being thin. Like, this is kind of a step fracture, but it's more so just like I'm a not very good detached flake. I'll probably end up getting one, knowing me. But yeah, we hate those, because then you got to really do some work to thin your point down and make it nice. Once I get one, I'll be able to kind of show you how I fix it. Here's another good one right here. This little thing right here. So we're gonna knock that off too. I didn't put enough of my tool on there, so it didn't go very far. Well, that's okay. But yeah, let's continue working it down just a little bit more, because like I said, I wanna start getting to up here, because that's a little interesting, and I like it when things get interesting. I really don't, but I like to tell myself that I do. because it makes it more interesting, you know? So I'm gonna try and trim this wing back here, this little spot that's kind of not doing all too much for us right now. This is kind of also the stage where you sort of, since you know we're making a preform, this is also another stage where you're kind of shaping out the general blade shape of the point that you're going to make. A lot of them have like a starter size, or not size, a starter shape. So they'll all kind of use a very similar profile to start out with, and then you just start doing the fine detail stuff. And then that kind of is where you go from there. Like on my book, I got a big old book. Hold on, you gotta see the book. Everybody's gonna love the book. Ugh. There goes one of my pressure flakers, that's fun. Oh dear, bumping the camera. So I got the Overstreet guide. It's all the life-size artifacts that are found. So certain point styles, here's an Evans. I was gonna make one of these one time. So certain ones like this, they'll kind of start out with a general shape. So like these ones kind of have just sort of a, not really an almond, but it's like an almond somebody took a bite out of the back of, an almond shape, and then they do kind of the notches later. These ones here, the Ensers, they have like a triangular start profile, and then they start doing the fancy stuff in the blade work. So that's kind of why I'm gonna make a preform, because here's one. This was actually given to me by a dude out of Oregon. His name's Kale. He's super cool. He's got a lot of really cool obsidian out there. So here is just like kind of a really, really, really nice preform. So again, it's just kind of a blank blade shape where everything's kind of worked down nicely. And then from here, you can kind of just go into whatever it is that you're doing. So that's kind of what we're gonna do with the Georgetown here. So that's why I'm kind of trying to shave off this edge here, because I wanna make this sort of a starter profile, and then depending on how well that goes, I'll be able to continue working on it, and then hopefully turning it into something cool. So yeah, that's what I'm that's the big plan with this. And then depending on, that was a lucky one, depending on how things go, I'll probably end up making a part 2 to this video, because I can already see that I'm at like 28 minutes, so holy smokes. Some of these guys can do this like super fast, and if I'm not doing a video, I can do pretty good too. I can make like a point relatively quick. It's just that I'm making a video, and I kind of want to explain a couple things again for Zainey, because she did request to see how I make these, so you're kind of going to get a 2-part video, Zainey, if you're watching this. I was worried about that one. I was worried that was going to step. But yeah, we're going to make a... No, that wouldn't have been good. I was going to strike right there, but I hadn't abraded it. So, hold on, focus. I was going to strike right there. There's no abrasion to that. That would have just crumpled. You don't want your stuff to crumple, because then it's like, shoot, I wasted a really nice platform. I didn't even abrade it. I wasted a really nice platform. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you use your platforms. And actually, that one gives me a little bit of anxiety, because this is a dip right here. It goes down, and I don't want to mess with that. Because if you start striking in dips, that's where you get step fractures. And like I said, it's kind of just best to avoid those at all costs. They just sort of suck. And a lot of new nappers do them. I mean, experienced nappers will do them too. It's just a matter of the material, what you're familiar with. A lot of it depends on if you have everything set up nicely and you're starting to get step fractures. Sometimes it can depend on like the inward force that you're striking with, because believe it or not, I'm not just striking down every single time. Sometimes I strike at an angle, and sometimes I just do like kind of a tap. Did I just flake that on accident? I think I did. No, that was fine. Sometimes I do stuff like that. So there's a bit of variability in the strikes that I'm doing, especially on the angles, because I'm holding this at different angles to the indirect percussion rod. So that kind of has an effect on things as well. But yeah, there's a lot of just really subtle things that kind of go into it, and once you do it enough, I didn't abrade that. See, I didn't abrade that at all. See how it kind of got a little bit of a crack in there, and it was just kind of nasty. I think I would have been able to knock this entire thing off if I had abraded that. But there's a prime example right there of why abrasion is good. What was I saying? I guess I'm scatterbrained all the time when I'm doing this sort of thing, especially so when I'm actually making stuff. What was I going to say? What was on my brain? Remind me. Help me. Help me. I don't know. It's fine. It probably wasn't important. Also, since I can't really get in there with a grinder stone, I got a cheater tool. I got a diamond file. It helps me get into some of these really fine areas. It also helps me with notching. I got a pretty big toolkit. I made a Reddit post on it. Ooh, yay. That was a big one right there. Took a lot of that off. See now, see this big old, okay, this is a great little demonstration here. See if I can get the angle right. See this big, tall area right here? There we go. See how it's like a little bit of a mountain peak right in there? We're gonna try to knock that off, but we don't wanna go too far and we don't wanna dive into here. So I'm gonna try to control that just a little bit by adjusting where I hold it and my strike. And there, terminated the flake right there, didn't dive. Let's see right here too. Let's see if we can get another one. Ooh, that went a bit too far. Went a bit too far. Kind of got messy in there, but that's actually not too bad. That's quite fine actually, because I might be able to clean that up. There's just a bit of a dip right there, but yeah, I'll take that. I still gotta clean this edge up. Shoot, I haven't done that yet. We better get on that. Oh my goodness. Like I said, this is gonna end up being like an hour-long video. It probably is gonna be an hour-long video because I might biface this other side here. It depends on how I'm feeling. I could do a monster flake right there, maybe. Let's see how good I am. Let's see how good I am today. I'm gonna try to strike it right in there, right where that weirdness is. Let's see. Yeah, it wasn't really a monster flake, but it was exactly what I wanted because I wanted to thin out that middle area right there. Cool. And like I should say, there are certain things that you can control, and then there's certain things that are just out of your control. There's just like straight up luck involved. There was a really good one. Ooh, did you come off? Oh no, we're good. I thought I was gonna make a big mess there. So that just knocked all that off right there in the center. And that's thinning it down. Those thinning flakes, going long ones like that, long thin flakes like that, super hard for beginners. Like it took me, oh boy, how long? It took me a long time, a really long time. Ooh, okay, there's a baby step fracture right there. So right there, see how it kind of did some weirdness right there and sort of stopped? That's a baby step fracture, but that's a fine step fracture because I can kind of fix that. If I was doing like fine work, I don't know if that's a crack too. That's gonna be fun to find out about. If I was doing like a big blade and I was like near the end, that would suck because I'd have to like trim back the entire edge to kind of get it evened out. But since we're just doing a sort of a little biface here, that's not really too bad. It's just a little bit of an oopsie on my part. Like I said, I still make mistakes often, in fact. So there are beginner guys who will get stuck just doing that over and over and over again. And I was there for like a really long time. And it took me so long, and I had to learn to just like put stuff down and be like, okay, no, we're done with this for today. Let's not mess with it. Just leave it for later. It's fine. I might actually, do I go the other side now? Yeah, sort of, kind of. I might be able to. I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe. Oh, God, there's an elastic. Get off. There's an elastic band coming off my little ultra high molecular weight plastic whacker rod. The reason I use ultra high molecular weight or density, I forget which it is, plastic, is because it's less impact resistant, or it doesn't absorb as much impact, I should say, is what I'm looking for. It's not Delrin or anything. Delrin's got a little bit too much of impact absorption, so it can be a bit weird. I'm doing this really nasty, by the way. This is dirty. This is going to be a bit crunchy in there, but I'm pressed for time. I don't want this to be a super duper long video. I want to try to keep it short enough. If I actually abrade, I'm trying to abrade there. There we go. Trying to keep it a little bit of a short video, nothing that's going to be super duper long. I mean, I plan on making more of these. I have a couple that I want to make with big cobbles or like big chunky pieces, because a lot of the Iowa stuff that I make, a lot of the Iowa rock stuff that I make, I have to make out of just the most horrendous pieces ever. Like, they're not, like this one already started pretty flat. So all things considered, this one was kind of a nice case scenario where I was sort of able to have a lot of the work done for me, which is why I picked it, because I wanted this video to go a little bit fast. But yeah. A bit of a doozy bite there. Took a big old Cookie Monster bite out of the edge. I was like, okay. Took a big bite. That's okay. That's okay. I can trim it back just a little bit. I still need to do some shaping on this edge, which I'm going to do right now, actually, because I don't want to throw off my symmetry too much. So I'm just knocking pieces off here. These are kind of more of my straight down strikes, just to try to trim stuff back. And I'm doing a very steep angle here because that'll keep me from trying to drive inward flakes, or at least those thinning flakes. And it also allows me to set myself up with a lot of really nice striking platforms. So that's why I was doing those really fast strikes, and I'm gonna do a bit more here too. Let me see. I need to make an assessment. I kind of need to trim off. I haven't done much with this base yet, have I? Base stuff you got to be careful with, because you can, if you do too much like inward force, you can snap stuff in half, especially if you're like thin in the middle. I've done that so many times. That's like, it's something that you know is like, oh, this could snap it in half, and then you do it anyways, and you're like, well, darn, I shouldn't have done that. But I don't know, it's like this weird primal urge to be like, hit it there, do it. And it just, not good at all. We don't like that. Let me see, how am I doing here? Might quiet down just a little bit to get myself a bit more concentrated on some of the fine detail stuff. Another Cookie Monster bite there. That's okay, because it's kind of opposite of the other Cookie Monster bite. But yeah, I don't know, might quiet down just a little bit, just because I want to make sure I have a nice preform to use, even though honestly this would probably be fine. I'd throw this in my bin and I'd work on it later. I just want to have a nice one for the video, as most people probably would. And then let's see, what do I got to do? I'm probably going to trim this edge up a little bit. Still a big old oopsie on that Cookie Monster bite, but yeah, those happen. It's no big deal. I got plenty of room to work with a lot of stuff here. But yeah, I'm just going to try to clean up the shapes of this just a little bit, just to kind of get things looking good. I might have to, I don't know, that's definitely not in focus, is it? I'm probably going to end up adjusting the camera location too, because I don't know if that's like the best location. And then sitting here at this angle is kind of weird for me. A big thing about napping too that'll make you more successful is getting yourself consistent in as many areas as possible, and that includes your sitting position. If you can take out like a bunch of variables, that will be really good for you. You don't want to have to be like, okay, I'm going to sit this way this one time, I'm going to sit this way this other time, because that can like control the angle of the rod and just throw off your chakra or something. I don't know, but yeah, that'll definitely have an effect on your success levels if you're not entirely consistent. And I mean, the adaptability also comes with time and practice. I mean, I've like sat in the open door of a truck and done this. Just kind of like on the stinker. What are you doing? What's the deal? Excuse me. I don't want to use too much force because I don't want that to happen. Darn it! I did it! Oh no! This is fine. This ain't the end of the world. Get out of there. I knew that was going to happen, dang it. I overshot and blew the edge off there. Shoot, and we're at 40 minutes. That's fine. I might end up just trimming this back down. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Darn it. Yeah, just one of those things where, oh well, it happened. It's here. Wait, was it on the... Ooh, it was on the Cookie Monster side. Haha, okay, so I'm not entirely too mad about that because that means I can work my way down this way. And now I really should quit yapping because this can sometimes be a bit of a chore to do, but yeah, I've done overshots like crazy. A big thing that'll get me lots of overshots is if I do them stone for a while and then I go to obsidian, because obsidian, obsidian is a lot more delicate than your stone. So with some of the stone stuff, you really got to crank on it, to drive flakes off that you want to come off. Whereas with obsidian, you can kind of just, and then it'll do what you need it to do, which is great. I mean, I love that about obsidian. It's fantastic. It just, sometimes it's just going from those hard strikes to something that requires a little bit more of a delicate touch. The adjustment period is kind of, I'm not gonna, do I do it? Maybe I kind of want to. I'm trying to figure out if I want to keep doing indirect strikes on the tip, because I don't want a repeat of what just happened again, because that would kind of suck. But yeah, here, there. Okay. Now, what do I want to do? Take that off. Take him back. Drag this down. That'd be a good flake right there, yeah. Nice flake. I'll have another, please. Oh dear. Oh dear, that's going down in there. That's not good. I got a good cavity. Oh no. I might be going a bit too flat on this now. Or at least there I was. Ooh, that didn't do anything. Zoinks. Yeah, I gotta focus. Hold on. Let me see here. I definitely want to take care of this. Nice. I'm going to gently knock this one back. Yeah. There. This is the profile we currently got. Still a bit of that nasty edge there, but again, not the worst. And I should say, I also have different sizes of indirect rod as well. One of them I 3D printed and made myself. It's kind of for precision stuff. Works really good. Saved my bacon a few times. It's just scary because it's like a turbo pressure flaker, and it's really precise and accurate. And if you don't have super duper strong platforms, you can explode your piece or do the nasty edge bite, which are never good. Ooh, what in the world? Hold on. I gotta file this down. We're getting the whole experience today. I have a stone has gotten in there, because that should have been perfectly fine, but it was not. Let's try again. It'll be fine. Whoop! I missed again. What is going on? There. Nice one. I'm going to trim this back just a little bit more. Which way do I want to trim it back? I want to trim it back this way. So I'm going to do some more trimming. And these stone flakes can be nasty too. Not as messy as obsidian. Another thing you can use that isn't obsidian is bottle glass, because, you know, obsidian is just volcanic glass. Well, bottle glass is just glass. So you can use that as well. Let me see here. What was I doing? I have to reorient my brain. I got to be careful because I'm getting dips down there in the center where it's going down, and I don't want to shoot long flakes into that because that'll cause me issues, and I don't want to have to get the tissues. So I'm going to try to go back for this one because I don't know why this one didn't work. Yeah, there we go. Weird. Did like a weird like chip out thing right there. Goofy. I'm not gonna indirect percussion this large tip off. I'm gonna pressure flake that, but I can do that when it comes time to actually making something out of this stuff. So we're just gonna continue. Let's see. Still need to do a bit of trimming, gentle trimming though, because again, don't want to go down into those concavities. And then I could definitely work this edge just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. Yeah, ever so gently. And I'm not paying too much attention to the camera, so fingers crossed that thing has been behaving. I'm sure I'll look back and when I'm editing it, and it's going to be like, oh cool, none of it's in focus. Nah, it's probably fine. It's probably good. Nice. Trying to see if there's anything else. I mean, I do have this this one pretty. Do have this one kind of nasty edge in here, but honestly, I could fix that with pressure flaking. It's not like the nicest preform, but yeah, that's kind of a preform. We're at like 47 minutes, so this will be part one of the video. That's going to be fun to fix because I've kind of knocked it down into there. It's deep, and I'm gonna have to get rid of this. I mean, all things considered, watch this. You want to see me break it? Check this out. There might not be a part two. Watch this. This is gonna be fun. Trying to get myself set up here to take care of that little issue. Nah, smooth it out. Cool. Okay, no, we saved it. We saved it, yay! I shot a flake down here to help try and alleviate some of that that there. And if I get really, really good, I might try to drive something down into there to smooth that out. But as far as the preform goes, I would stake. Wait, I can grab them. This is gonna go into the preform box. Look at them all. They're beautiful. There's some weird, yucky quartzite. Here's some novaculite. Got some obsidian. Buffalo. Oh, there's some marble. Yeah, that's nice. I might play with that a little bit later. Got my cornstone. Hated that stuff. It was terrible. Yeah, got lots of things. Another big old piece of novaculite. Here's a big old piece of I don't know what that is. Whatever it is, it's nice. Another novaculite piece. A piece of dacite. Got some Texas root beer here. Yeah, or not root beer. That's just Texas, random Texas church. I don't even know what type that is, but yeah. So, get a thumbnail for the video. I'm gonna be making that guy right there. This would be the one right here that we make today, and yeah. This is kind of just a part 1 and 2. I hope you enjoyed this part of the video, and I will see you guys in part 2. So, thanks for watching.